two youngest people that you ever did see. Younger than springtime, though a newborn baby. And the show is gonna surely make you shout. Yes, ma'am. We're talking about 5 questions with James and Jam. Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh. Yes, welcome to the show.
Are you voguing?
I was doing something. I was like thinking to myself, we need to come up with like ography. Like, you know, how they have these.
Right. Like a I'm gonna need to put something on that, like an ointment.
You need an ointment for doing dance
already.
For just that amount of dance.
There's that much dancing. That's much dancing. I am not a dancer. I am an aggressive mover.
And I appreciate and love that about you, my honey banana.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Oh, we have some Vinny Mussolino and Jason Vizia here.
Hello, boys.
So just so you know, people in the world, because we're on this other platform, we don't know that who exactly is here until you say like, hi in the comments, right?
And it doesn't even have to be public. Like you can just write hi and we'll see it and be like, hey.
Hey, oh, my friend Will is here. He says he loves this program. Yes, the network isn't canceled us yet. Hasn't canceled.
The network has not canceled us. We've been thrown to several different time slots, but here we are. They're like, what, that 5 questions with James and Jam thing. Like, I don't know.
They just keep moving all over the place, right?
I think we're safe as long as they don't move us to like Tuesday. Death.
Yes.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh, our sound mixer, Mr. Corey Tutt, is in the house.
Hey.
And our most favorite, Miss Caroline Aquino, is here. Well, I think
you have a 2-show extension.
There you have it.
How was your week?
My week was good. I got jabbed at the Javits. Jabbed at the Javits.
Did it hurt?
So the shot itself did not hurt. What did happen was I got really sleepy. And then it felt like the back of my eyeballs were extremely thirsty. So that was like the headache that I got. It wasn't like a headache.
Was it like a Visine thing? Or just like that?
Like it literally felt just like the back half of my eyeballs were like water for about 24 hours. And then today was fine. Although I still can't sleep on my left.
Right.
But it's fine.
I mean,
I'm glad
I'm very glad for you.
How was your week, honey?
I'm tired of diversity. It's real hard every week. This week's assholery involved Oberlin Conservatory.
It is like my absolute favorite thing. It is
but next week there'll be something else. So if you guys don't know, Oberlin Conservatory, one of the like top music and theater schools in the country. They've always had a problem with having the right amount of people of color, but they tried, of course, to do somebody's Black History Month programming. Now, allegedly, they did something every single week of Black History Month, but they only put out a flyer for the last week. Which was it was a flyer.
Nothing but white people.
Nothing but white people. All of these composers of color, William Grant Still, all these people, and the people performing this music by composers of color, all white people. Mm-hmm. And it was like, and of course they got immediately dragged and people took to everything. And
the thing about it, James, was I thought it was a joke. Like when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke.
I did too.
Like, this has to be a joke.
Well, because obviously, no one would let that happen.
Oh my gosh.
No one would put together a program like this and actually have like 6 white people
So
singing.
the
Like,
thing,
what
so
were they singing? Because some of that music is
Massa, don't beat me in the cotton field. Whoa.
it's like
Like
this
just
like
round tones
right
of
round tones about like slavery and go down Moses, um, but
oh.
sung by like
Hmm.
somebody who shouldn't be singing it
Oh my
allegedly.
gosh.
Um,
I just want to say hi, Jimmy
Hi,
Wilson,
Jimmy
and
Wilson.
Corey Tutt. I know you told me to hydrate. I didn't. I was bad. Tell us hi in the comments if you're watching tonight, so we
Yes.
can give you some love and shout you up and all of that stuff. Oh wait, also you were doing something with high schoolers, right? You're about to do something with high schoolers.
Next week, I am so over the next 2 weeks. I'm talking next week to my old high school, which
Yeah.
is fascinating, and the following week to my old college. So next week, it's an hour-long thing with my high school music teacher and her class, and then 2 other schools' theater departments. And they've
Oh.
sent me all of these questions that like a bunch of the kids have asked, and I have to pick like 20 or so of them and say these are the ones I'm going to answer and answer them in the Zoom. But the questions are unbelievable. It's a lot of like I never would have been able to ask anyone who came to my high school about like, has your sexuality ever been an issue in you getting cast in a role? Have you ever not gone to an audition because you thought they didn't want to see someone of your race or someone of your sexuality? And I was like, you're 15.
Wow.
And so I'm fascinated by what this conversation is going to be. I love also watching everybody say hi to everybody
To everybody else in the
right?
comments, which is like wonderful. It's just great. Our show
So yeah,
is
that is
entertainment, but it's building community, people. We're a network. We're a connecting thread. El Morgan is in the waiting room, like going, this mother father.
yeah. We our guest this week is El Morgan Lee.
Emmy award-winning actress.
Yes. Also from the cast of A Strange Loop. So
Yes.
we are very, very good friends. She's got several things coming up that
Yes.
I don't know. She's been like so supportive also of us trying to do this thing and like figure out how to be these old people online here. And she's just been so supportive. And I think she's fascinating to talk to. And just like I want everyone to hear from her always. And she's also starting her own show, like sort of a virtual talk show thing.
Right? Like,
I think maybe tomorrow it starts. It's called The Circle. And so I'm going
yeah.
to talk to her about that a little bit.
Absolutely. We have her doing what she does so fantastically, which is sing. So we have a performance from her tonight, live on tape.
Yes, live on tape. So yeah, I'm very excited to like. I think we have. I love so Jam and I meet like a day or two before the show to try to plan out the show and figure out what the 5 questions we're going to ask our guests are. And our questions, I feel, are quite lovely. Like I'm like, oh, these are good. Like I said, oh, we're doing some hard-hitting journalism.
Hard hitting, and because it's El Morgan, I think we're also going to do some gotcha journalism. No, we're not.
Yes. Hi, Barbara. Barbara Whitman's watching.
Oh my God, Barbara Whitman. Oh well, we have to give Barbara Whitman a quick shout out.
Yes,
there is an award,
the Barbara Whitman Award.
Which was just named in her honor. And it is for female and trans directors. And I think the opening, like to nominate someone, it's coming up.
I think so. We'll post all the info.
Yeah, if Jimmy or Barbara want to let us know when the nominations are, we'll throw that up on the thing as well. But yeah. Congrats, Barbara.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I love, we can only sit at home for so long. And then like everyone starts to figure out what can I do from right here.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Andrew Volkov is here. Fantastic.
Hey,
Um, so,
representing.
so shall we move into our regularly scheduled programming?
Yes, what
Um,
our favorite segment is called 3 minutes.
what? It's called
Yeah,
what?
called 3 minutes. Everything has a number. It's 5 questions. There's 3 minutes. Later on. There's a one. So yeah, this section is called 3 minutes, where each one of us has something we just want to kind of speak to the people about for 3 minutes. And
and this week it's you.
yes, I have a 3 minutes this week. I needed my reading glasses. My 3 minutes this week is for the incomparable. Oh, but the words are going to be backwards up here too. The incomparable Ruby D.
Oh,
Um,
I have
so,
that there.
yes, once a year.
I told you I was making assets, girl.
I love you. Once a year, I've had this book since I think I was 14 or 15 years old.
Wait! I didn't start the clock.
Oh my god! Because it's supposed to be 3 minutes. So tell me when it starts. Okay.
It started.
So 3 minutes about Ruby D, who I absolutely love. I've had this book, My One Good Nerve, since I was 14 or 15 years old. I got it at the National Black Theater Festival when she was doing this book as a one-woman show. So it's all like poems and little essays and like tributes to people. Like she writes things to Marvin Gaye and to James Baldwin, and she writes a lot of poems to her husband, Ossie Davis. And it was brilliant. And I was 14 when I saw it. And this little tiny gay boy seeing royalty on stage at a podium with just her pages in her hand. And in front of me I always say in the pew in front of me because it felt very spiritual, but in the pew in front of me was Marla Gibbs on one side, and on the others, and next to her was Charles Nelson Riley, because Charles Nelson Riley apparently directed the one woman show. And I just was like transfixed, and I wanted to read something from it. So there's my favorite poem. I read 3 poems out of here every year. I have read the whole book, but every year I make it a point to reread these 3 poems. So one of them is a poem that she wrote to Ossie Davis, just called An Ode to O.D. That if you find the time, go read it. It's lovely. I was going to read the following poem about, it's called I Am Somebody, which is also lovely. But then I realized there's a third one in the back that I forgot about that explains pretty much where we're all at with patience right now as it relates to the pandemic. So, and it's also the title poem from My One Good Nerve. So I'm going to read that for you right now. And it explains to me, when she got to this point, it's the finale of the one woman show. And when she got to this point, I think I just understood absolutely everything about everything. I wanted to be someone on that stage. I wanted to be in love. I wanted to be a Black person in the arts. And she was embodying everything in the 90 minutes that I saw her do this thing and then finish the show with this. And this poem sums up where I've been, patience-wise and procrastination-wise, for about a year. It's called My One Good Nerve. The nerves once functioned like a symphony, but the struggle got rough. Promises, fulfillments didn't match. All the overcoming got too tough. Vipping when I needed to vop, going straight ahead when I needed to stop. Spending life's blood in gambling joints, cashing in my gold for chips, to plunk down on irrelevancies, stupidities, and detours past too many main points, forgetting to cool out the noises, pay attention, living life ad lib, ad hoc, at random. People, events, descriptions, definitions like tiny jumbled jigsaw puzzle pieces screaming to get ordered, fitted into a serene and beautiful picture of me making sense. But the madnesses, the contradictions, the procrastinations, the absurdities took over. So hysteria just torpedoed the territory, stripped all the nerves, except one. So I'm standing here outside the last gate to myself, with my fist balled up and dug in my hips, I'm going to put on my glasses and poke out my lips, ready to do battle, hook a mean curve before I let anything get on my one good nerve. Then, together and focused, I will stroll on through to the power and glory with a glass of water on my head, then hold for a gentle pat on my back as I present myself with my one good nerve intact.
Hurrah!
Yeah. So I thought this book was out of print also, but it's apparently available on Amazon, and I highly recommend it. It's very short, and it is so lovely. And there's an intro in the book written by Ossie Davis that, I don't know, there's a lot in here about her life in the arts and the theater and her love of that space and her man. So I think that's a lovely thing.
I love the story you told about, well, we'll save it for another time, but why you love it so much, that sometimes love just boils down to take out the trash.
In the poem that's an ode to Ossie Davis, an ode to OD, it's this long thing about why she loves him, and it's a beautiful poetic thing, and you can picture everything that she's saying about this man that she has spent these years with, and you think it's going to boil down to some big romantic flowery something, and it just ends with Ossie. I've been trying to tell you this, and I don't know what other way to say it, but take out the trash. That's it. That's it. You can just be like, it doesn't have to be all flowers and romance and poetry and whatever, because sometimes it just comes down to take out the trash. For us, it's usually like, what are we going to eat tonight? Did we empty the dishwasher? Like, it's not the poetry and the stuff. I think it's so wonderful that it's the simple things that mean the most.
I love it. Caroline Aquino, as usual, is on it. The Whitman deadline, March 15th. Now you know, people. Now you know.
We'll post about it because I think it's a totally cool thing.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it's about that time
to bring on our guest.
Yes.
I don't need my reading glasses right now.
Yes, and let me find the video asset that I created.
Oh, we have an asset, yes.
For her entrance to the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, have a glass of wine, and get ready for Miss L. Morgan Lee. Hurrah! Yay. Hurrah! Hurrah! Hurrah!
Oh my goodness. That's the flyer from Oberlin Conservatory.
Oh, God bless.
I had to pull it up.
You love a receipt.
Uh-huh. You love a receipt. You love it more than life. Oh,
how are you?
Oh, what? Yes. No.
Go, Jan. What were you saying?
I want to know how you are.
I'm okay. I am here.
Yeah.
I'm much better here in this room with you all.
Yeah. Where are you? You're uptown.
I'm uptown in the Heights.
Yes. Yes.
One thing that I wanted to mention with the both of you here, because I was like, oh wow, we should talk about that, is the Rent 25 that's happening, and New York Theater Workshop has been doing a broadcast. I think you can get it until the 6th. I think it's like Sunday or something like that.
6th, yeah.
But
did you watch it yet?
I haven't yet, but the thing that I kept thinking about was what a legacy. And like Strange Loop is a part of that legacy, right? Like Michael won the
Jonathan
Larson Award.
Oh yeah.
You remember? For A Strange Loop, and we got to be at that ceremony all together, and Jason was there. And I think
like, you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
And you were there, and you were there. And I think that was like that was one of those first awards, at least for me, where I started to dream about what a show of A Strange Loop could look like. You know what I mean? Like the show had always felt almost too dangerous and like too Black, too queer, too smart, too whatever.
Just to everything.
To everything. And
I was actually not there.
Oh, you weren't.
Research, Jam. There's a video.
I'm so
no.
Well,
you were not.
wow.
I knew
Now,
that
because I had to shoot uptown that night. I came down afterwards and
You
met
came
you all at the
after?
restaurant.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
See, El Morgan now has another receipt on me.
That's okay, Jam. We'll just chalk it up to age.
Oh, yes.
I love you. I have not made any sideways remarks to you in over a year. I had to do one.
That's true.
I had to do one.
That's true.
This was every day of rehearsal and performance. Hi, old person.
No, but there is this whole, like, I think a lot of what we were realizing as we were planning the evening with El Morgan was like this history that we have, and A Strange Loop just weaves through so much of our life, our lives.
Definitely.
You know? So the first question actually revolves around
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm gonna have to learn how to play that. I'm gonna figure that out. The first question revolves around receipts because, and receipts in the good. There's receipts that people use in a bad way.
Oh, it's a dangerous topic with us.
I know. I don't even think it's receipts isn't the right word. I think it's about documenting moments. And I think that even like in every sense of the word, I think that you love the documentation of a moment. I think that's the photographer in you. That is she's like, well, see, I'll show you. But no, I think that's the photographer in you, right? Like that's where that speaks directly to you, saying like, oh, here's a moment I want to capture that. Give me that and let me like make it pretty.
It's the photographer / only child, I think. Just sort of holding on to like just like little memories like for my own self to sort of enjoy later on when I'm like likely going to be alone.
You're going to be alone.
By myself.
Did that lead into photography? Like when did you start taking photos?
Like 11 years ago at this point or so, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like what started it?
I had just finished doing a reading of a show that I'm writing or on the writing team for now, called Madam. And we had just done a reading, and it was a situation where I was just tired of hearing other people's opinions about what I was doing. Like when it's a new project, you're dealing with lots of people sort of chiming in on what they think the narrative should be and what they think this character should be and the journey they think this person should take. And it was one of those things where I was like, I'm kind of tired of hearing everybody else's voices about the story that I want to tell. And so I need to find some sort of outlet that just allows me to do whatever I want to do and put it out there.
You want to do it.
And then anything that's talked about afterwards, it's not about me anymore. It's about them. It's about you. However you interpret that thing, it's on you. It's not really about me. I'm just sort of taking note of who you are as a result of how you respond to whatever that thing is.
So I got a camera. When you're photographing, and it's like you have photographed a lot of people, and I think you're a people person, and you have a way of making people comfortable. I hate having my photo taken, and you have taken several photos of me, and you just make me comfortable. So is that like, were you aware of that you have that skill?
What's so funny is when I first decided to get the camera, I was temping at a finance firm in Midtown East, and my team was going on a department retreat upstate. So I just had this idea. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to bring my phone and I'll just be taking pictures. I have all these pictures of like Bear Mountain and all this like huge landscapes. Wow. Somehow out of that, I was like, I'm going to buy a camera and take portraits of people. It's like I had just taken like 3 or 4 days of just like woods and mountains and creeks. And somehow it was like, but I need people. So I think it's interesting that it's the life. It's the life that sort of, I like to remember moments from people. So I think it all just translates really well into photography.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
And taking creep shots with your iPhone.
And there's maybe a little bit of voyeur in me.
Mm-hmm. I know that. I know you have all of the receipts on everything that's going on all the time.
But I don't talk about it out loud, though. Is the thing. I don't share it. I just keep things to myself.
I literally. I'm going to remove the word receipts. I think it's documented. I really do.
James, you want to ask the next question?
That was the first one.
Good. That was the first. See, they're all like loose and like. See, is this before you like go in
now? Yeah, because now we're going to do the gotcha journalism that we're so known for.
Not at all. So this is something that I think a lot of people may not know. So. The last year, of course, has been a void of nothing. And the year before, we finally performed A Strange Loop, like publicly, on the stage at Playwrights Horizons. We've been doing it for 3 million years at music stands and doing workshops and readings in every possible. Thank you, Jason.
Research.
Thank you. That's what I'll call it from now on. It's no more receipts. It is acquired research. So we've been doing things at music stands for years and years, which was lovely. And it did speak to some of this, like, well, maybe no one's ever going to do this thing. So you can do whatever you want or be whoever you want to be. But there was a point after music stands were ending where we knew we were going into an actual real show. There was a point where you were actually going to leave A Strange Loop. Can you talk about why?
No.
Can you imagine? Actually, no.
I plead the fifth. But that was not the game. No, there definitely was a moment. There was a moment. Well, because I guess full transparency, of course, I started my transition during the process of development for the show, and so as I was sort of figuring me out and really working through like the things that I needed to feel the most affirmed with, I started realizing more and more that like the space in the show, there was not a space for me in the show. To me, there was, I could do my track, but I felt like I needed to step away in order to provide the space for the person that was supposed to be there. I felt like I love the piece. I care about the piece. I care about everyone in it. And I just felt like it was not really my story to tell. So it was like, I'd rather step away and know that I'm going to support everyone at Playwrights in the front row, cheering, but like just to make room for the person whose story I believed that should have been there.
I remember it was around. So one of the times that you did take photos for me, we took our photos.
Yes.
We were at your apartment, and so we took the photos in 20 minutes. We were done with that, and then with the rest of the day we spent just conversating. And I was like pleading because I found. So what I know of you now, and I think what a lot of people know of Elle Morgan right now, is you're doing all of the new work. There's like new writers, new composers. They're like Elle Morgan, because you are unreal and your talent is crazy, and so that is wonderful. Now we're going back 3 years, where there was a writer and a director, Michael Jackson and Stephen Brackett, who were like, "No, please do not leave. We have this thing and we want you. And we are so thankful that you told us where you are in your space, but we want to turn this thing into something for you. And we want to do it the right way. And that requires you."
Yeah.
That is such a special and wonderful thing that I just don't think some people don't get, or they don't.
And just like doesn't happen.
Right. I think there's a lot of like people being used as gimmicks sometimes out there, and this was a team of people who did not want to do that, and that required only you, because I think do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and it was.
Go on. I'm sorry, Jam.
No, just so you know, like I'd mentioned, I was workshopping a show with Stephen Brackett, the director, during the time when you were deciding whether you were going to stay or not. And he and I had like several conversations where he's like, I don't want her to leave. Is she going to leave? I don't want her to leave. You think she's going to leave? I don't want her to leave. She's not going to leave. He was just like very, very concerned that was going to happen.
It was like one of the hardest emails I've had to send was drafting up a letter to say, I need to step away so that the person that belongs there can fill that space. Because it was completely in like service of the show. It was like all out of love for the show and for everyone, and for a love for the person that I believed was supposed to be there. Because I was like, that person is not going to have a space, and here I am in this space, going to be feeling uncomfortable and going to be feeling really like I'm like sort of sitting in the midst of everybody else's party, kind of a thing.
Well, the space was meant for you, honey, and it was.
I think that's the thing. When something's just right. It was.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like you don't. I think just as an actor, you don't expect a team to come back at you with that response, because we are so used to being told that like sort of everyone is just, oh, we'll just replace you. It becomes okay. Well, if you gotta do what you gotta do. And Stephen was very much like, we want to have a conversation with you and let's chat about things. Yeah. And they actually were like, we were talking about you behind your back. You just didn't realize. So we need to share with you what we've been talking about.
Right.
And it was really lovely.
Such a rare thing.
It was just lovely to have a team say, we want to do the work.
Tom Lauren.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I was actually getting right into it. They basically were like, it's not about changing anything or not about, shifting casting. We wanted to keep you in this space. Right. And so we need to know, if you can be open with us to let us know once we get into the process, the things that made you feel like you needed to send that email. Let us know the things that made you feel like you don't belong, or the moments that make you feel like if there's language that you're being asked to say that doesn't feel like something that you feel is affirming or able for you to sit in it, let us know. And Stephen was like, full transparency. I might, fight you a little bit and kind of want to talk about it a bit just to kind of see where you are. But I want to be able to have those conversations and like try to do that work to make sure that, you do feel at home and do feel safe in the space that you're in, which is, that's something that sort of you could never, you could just never expect a team to do that. And I think that like at the end of the day, there were so many layers to all of it. That it was that happening. It was also, like I said, I'm like in the middle of transition. There's so many things shifting. So like, even quite frankly, from the time I sent that letter to when we started rehearsals, I was in a slightly different, like I was a little bit more realized. I was constantly becoming more and more realized as we're going through. And like my feelings around the material and around my space in the material just sort of continued to be more clarified with each step. So, and I think the end of everything was I, in so many ways, needed that sort of family setting to, in many ways, sort of have my back through what could have been a really disastrous thing, because there were a lot of people. It's a lot of exposure at Playwrights. It's a lot of everybody goes to Playwrights to see the shows. I had no idea what I was going to face when I stepped out onto the stage. That was my first time, since being since living in the most authentic way. That was really my first time stepping out like in front of all these people that I completely don't know, and sort of being at the mercy of whatever these people think. And so what I was met with was, thank God, what I wanted to be met with. It was really affirming and really like, I gained a lot of confidence about my own self and about my own presence and such during that run, because it was just like affirming all over the place. It was that people are seeing you as you want to be seen. To some extent, it was also, seeing me in ways that I didn't expect to be seen. Like I remember that Michael came to me a couple times and was like, in talkbacks, we've had a couple people make a comment saying, this is a queer show, this is a queer space. So what's with the Black woman on stage?
Right.
And I was oh, I was actually very nervous of being sort of lumped in in a different way. And instead, it was as if I was being, in a sense, misgendered, but towards being a cis woman. And it was like, I didn't expect that. I mean, I don't mind that assumption because it is less problematic from those people than the other way. But also like, oh, that's interesting. And so Michael was like, how do you want us to, how would you want us to like answer this question? Yeah. And I was like, well, the way to answer it is, why would you put a girl in the cast? Why is there a girl in the show? Because the answer to that question shouldn't be, well, we have her there because she's trans. Because if you say that, then the audience is inherently going to think something really problematic, and like that's not. So it's the answer to that question becomes, why is there a girl in the cast? And in a strange loop, it really becomes, why wouldn't there be a girl in this boy's head?
Exactly.
In this particular man's head in particular. I mean, everybody's head, there's a woman in there somewhere. Yeah. But in this particular one, there's clearly some female and feminine energy sort of seeping out from everywhere. So it makes perfect sense. I think that clarity sort of came. I'm just gonna it's crazy.
Because some people are having great reactions to what you're saying about the process, and so
we depend on the kindness of strangers.
Yes, it's true. Viewing the whole thing was very much like witnessing some sort of divine intervention. I have stood next to you all of these years, singing this thing. And like harmonizing to the high Q sharp every time we stand at this music stand, and watching you and this team piece this together and find the language. There was no better team, and there was no better actress. It was supposed to be you. It was supposed to be them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we got to.
And that process was amazing. I mean, like just the fact that we had the blessing of so many workshops, and so that when we got into the rehearsal period, the conversations that we had. I mean, like we were staging, and Roger was like, let's rehearse this thing and da 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 da. But we were
at the first rehearsal, we were able to like sit and do a table read.
We did a full
read, like a full invested table read at the first rehearsal at Playwrights, because we could.
Yeah,
because for years, and I said this the other day when we were talking, for years, we have been behind the music stand in so many ways with this piece. And something happened. That was first, it was a fear of, wait a minute, they want to do this for real?
Like, what in the world is this going to look like? We're supposed to move while we're doing. Do you remember when they said they were bringing in a choreographer, and we were like, you want us to dance during this?
I said, what's that going to do?
You were asking us to dance. Also, we've been working on this for years, and none of us have memorized the opening. So how are we supposed to dance on top of it?
Oh my God! It was the thought that we had to look at each other first of all.
Rather than the
oh my God, that's true. Yeah,
that's true.
The fear of stepping out from behind a music stand was really in our heads, terrifying. But when we got to do it in every way possible for all of us, I think it was such a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
and now here we are on the other side of it.
That's so interesting that you put it that way, because it really was like, in terms of my own journey, like each step away from that music stand was actually like a step closer to myself. It's like the most realized version of me ended up being on stage in the actual show.
Yeah.
Like that's, Oh, it just, yeah, go on. I'm sorry, Jam.
So, well, because
it goes into Jam's next question.
Yeah, it goes into my question, which was, what does it mean to step into your truth? And I think you've kind of like talked about that a little bit, but like my personal journey with A Strange Loop includes the privilege of witnessing your personal journey and stepping into your authenticity in such a brave and beautiful way. And so that was like such a privilege, and like one of the things that I will always treasure about the time of doing A Strange Loop was watching you step into your truth. So I wanted you to talk about that. I mean, I think you have, and so on the flip side, because you mentioned this once a little while ago. What was the cost of doing that, right? Like what did you gain and what was lost a little bit from, because I think sometimes people see the end result of a journey, but they don't necessarily understand, oh, there is a cost to being authentic. You know, if you want to go there, I know.
It's the moment where you bring a Cancer into the room who is already water sign and all watery. I'd really like you to dig in a little bit deeper and like tell us, what was the cost of this? What did I gain? I gained myself. I gained freedom. I gained the ability to fly in so many ways, because it's in so much of just even being vocal about an experience that is not considered normal to society is really to stand out alone and to sort of take a leap in a way that you are not taught that you're supposed to take. So you are sort of in many ways walking into a dark space with no flashlight, with nothing around you except trust and knowing that you're walking towards a light somewhere that you hopefully will reach. And so but you know that like every step that you take is closer to that light, and it's better to be walking towards that than to stay where you were. Because there's something, I think it's the moment when you truly tell yourself the truth, and the moment when you truly admit and start to embrace the truth. My transition has always been about learning to love and embrace the fullness of who I am. And I think that in that way, transition is something that everyone is always experiencing. Whether you are cis or trans or non-binary, or whatever you are, there is always a degree of a walk towards embracing the fullness of who you are. And so for me, that meant really like sitting with myself and trying to feel out. And it's interesting because sometimes I also say that my camera introduced me to myself.
Oh,
because I whenever I shoot people, I want to tap into who you are at the most primal place, at the most sort of, I want to know who you are at your bones. I want to sit with you and truly see you. That is something that I really pride myself on. And I've always been that. I mean, I'm an only child, and I'm someone who is a little bit like quirky. So like, I know that there were things I always sat and watched. I always observed people. I always sort of this has been something. It's funny that as an adult, I had this camera, because as a child, if I would go into a neighborhood, I would sit in my window and watch children play outside before I would go outside. So when I went outside, I'd walk straight to the group that I could trust, because I'd already watched them. I'd already vetted them.
Okay.
Wow. So I've sort of always been that person. So what did I lose? I think the cost of walking towards your truth and yourself is all of the things that you were holding on to that weren't true. And it's the cost is that you had become, and that I had become accustomed to trying to align myself with an experience that actually was never mine. And I had forced myself sort of into submission of, well, this is what it is. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And like, so the difference of feeling what it feels like when you're actually in your path and you're actually walking, you are, that's why I say flying is the only thing I can think of, because it does feel that sort of weightless and like I'm doing everything I've ever dreamed of in so many ways. Now that comes with a cost of, because you are different, because there are obstacles, because all those things. It's like if I was having problems dating before, that is just on a whole new high now, because there are, there's it's complex, and the understanding of women who are, trans or living in some sort of gender expansive experience is something that the world has not fully wrapped around yet. So as a result, seeing us as being desirable is something that people only feel like they can do in secret. And the ones who speak up and who are vocal about their attraction to us or girls like me, it's interesting because we as a community also have so much to work through on our own, that I think that sometimes we are not fully in the position of being able to receive that love because we've been told for so long that we're not right.
Right.
So when someone truly sits and is interested in the fullness of who we are, sometimes we sort of somehow repel that. I do believe that that's an element of it. I don't necessarily know for myself. I mean, I'm a little random. I feel like there are things that I'm interested in, or types of people that I'm interested in that would never align with what people say that I'm supposed to be interested in. But I'm like, look, this is like, I'm just here for people that see me. It's really that simple. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Right? I answered lots of questions in that, but
no, that was. I'm
like, did I actually answer the question that
you answered all the questions, and
you literally
did it beautifully.
I did, and didn't break. I went through a nice round scenic route so that I wouldn't get too much in the pit.
You want to ask the next question,
yeah.
Mr. Jackson?
What is the difference between diversity and representation?
And before you answer that, I'm just going to let you know, like Viva, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Viva la Huelga is just loving everything.
Is wonderful.
Loving everything. Okay.
That's Peter. So what is the difference between diversity and representation? Because I started this evening saying I'm exhausted by diversity, because I am. I'm literally, it like makes my throat close up. I'm exhausted by diversity. But when I think of L. Morgan Lee, I think you are a champion of representation. And so that means there is a difference. So what is the difference for you? What are your feelings on diversity and representation?
So diversity is a word that I feel like I use with quotations now, because its initial intent has been so blown out of proportion that I think that people are very good at making a word mean what's convenient, something that's convenient for them. So I think that diversity has taken on this identity that is sort of only what we need to see that will make us feel okay sleeping at night, that requires the least amount of work. I feel like so often conversations around diversity, especially during this time of reckoning that we are in right now, I feel like in particular during this space, the conversations are sort of whittled down to being a specifically Black and white thing. And I think that the word representation naturally sort of explodes that a bit more, because you can't make representation just about two things. And in the end of the day, diversity is also not, it's been gentrified. It's the new Brooklyn. I think that representation, I mean, even if the thing is, even if I say diversity, I have always thought representation. I've always thought that we need to be a little bit more vocal about the vast number of intersections that fall into people that need to be seen, people that need to be heard, voices
on every level.
On every level. So like it's not just a black and white situation, because even inside of those groups are so many other groups too. It's
diversity to me has
gender, it's about race, age, size. I mean, there's so many things, and we live in a world that is definitely more than just black and white.
Diversity for me seems like I picture a very cold conference room with a team of people
sterile
trying to, right. There's an Excel spreadsheet open on somebody's laptop. It's a Dell. And there's like, we must, because, it's like a little faulty. So must have 6 of this, must have 12 of this. We need to hire 4. I picture there's like a bar chart or like a pie chart or something. And representation would never have let that happen. Would never have let that meeting in that conference room happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, like, representation is like the Black experience in itself is diverse. So when you start to talk about like diversity, like what happens in representation is give us those Black directors, give us those Black writers, because the lens of the Black experience is going to be different, as opposed to someone who isn't Black telling Black stories, or like going, these are the accepted Black stories, because
and also even within
the community, it is like it is so wildly divergent, the Black experience, right? I mean, even like
we
Caribbean, James has a Flinty, New England Black experience. You know what I mean? Like you have, like it's all very different. So
because also even inside of our community, we have sort of gatekeepers about what stories are the most appropriate to be told.
Right.
So it's like when you talk about diversity,
damn gate.
Always.
It's always.
What did Rachel Peters say?
Go around the gate.
Go around the gate.
Go around the gate.
The damn gate. All right. So I'm going to ask the last of your 5 questions. Although, I mean, come on, we definitely done already asked you like 27, but
that's what we do. That's what we do.
But I think that would be a terrible title. 27 questions.
20. Oh my!
Right? I would tune in for that.
So tell us about the circle. That is the final question.
Oh, lovely.
Circle, and
what a
why
great lead-in.
Do you want to do this? Why are you doing this? What do you hope to like? Tell us all about it.
Yeah. What is it?
It's like a perfect lead-in from where we just came, actually, because that's exactly what the circle is. So I've been sitting with this need to have conversations, because and thing is, all these things link together for me. So when I sit with someone in a photography setting, when I sit with them and start to talk to them about who they are and getting down to sort of the core of that person, that's something that I would love to be able to do on a different kind of a platform that doesn't require me to take pictures of them. Because I think there's something really beautiful, because something I do feel like people have mentioned taking away is that in those sessions, in those moments, they are able to see elements of themselves that they did not see or didn't think about. And I think that's beautiful, because in a sense, it's like getting to know a little bit. It's like everyone coming in contact with those sessions or with those times are also being able to embrace and love a little bit more of themselves more fully. So I wanted to find a space to do that, where, again, I'm not dealing with photography, because also photography is sort of going to be filtering out slowly in her experience. There's other things to be doing. But yes, but I feel like the circle came out of, in particular, over this past year, there's been so many conversations and panels and chats and all these things talking about diversity. Talking about, what does inclusivity looks like? What does equity look like? What do all these things? But I feel like what's seeming to be missing from so many of them is the understanding of what we just talked about, is that representation is actually not being as pulled to the center of those conversations. It's specifically, what does diversity look like in a time where Black Lives Matter, which is a point on the spectrum that we need to be talking about.
Right.
I'm not taking away from that by any means, but that is a point. If we're going to truly talk about cracking the egg open and having discussions, then like, let's have them. We've had a year. This is a lot of time to really start putting, let's put it all on the table so that we can hear each other a little bit more fully. Someone told me a story really quickly about, and this will be on my first episode of The Circle coming out tomorrow. But that someone told me a story about this leader who takes a group of people blindfolded out into a field and puts them in a circle. And then there's an object in the middle of the circle. These people all have blindfolds, so they have no idea. The leader says, I want each of you one by one to walk into the center of the circle and tell me your experience of what you hear, smell, touch, taste, whatever this object is. I want you each to tell me your experience all the way around the entire circle until the last person does that and then steps away. And then the leader goes, God is in the center of this circle. The only way that we will be able to understand or get an idea of what God looks like and who God is by listening to each of those people in this circle's opinion. And so if I take that and bring like a wide angle outside of that and look at that story, like touched me so deeply when I heard it, because I was like, oh my God, the only way for me to understand myself and who I am in the bigger picture of things and of life is if I take the moment to see and listen to the person standing next to me. Or the person's across from me, or the person on the other side of me. I might not like them. I might not like what they think.
But you need to know
something about them, because we are walking this earth together. And if I want to live in the best world that I want to live in, I can't act like they're not here. And that's one of the things that I feel like is so lacking in so many of these conversations, that everyone is so excited about showing all the new Black people that they've included in their seasons and their projects. And I'm looking at Asian friends, Latin friends, trans friends, people who are larger bodied, people who are disabled. I'm looking at all these different groups of people and thinking, but where are all of that? Where are they? Where are these people? You have brought in this group of sort of socially acceptable, attractive people who are very thin and have a very specific sort of appearance and vibe about them. And you've now, in doing that, you're thinking that you've done the work. And it's like, no, you haven't. You've done what was convenient to you, but you didn't actually dig in. And we've had a year. So there is at some point, it would be really lovely to start seeing people really digging in. And I think that a lot of it I don't think that there's a lack of intention. I think that people really do believe that they are doing the best that they can do. And I think that people are trying to learn and are listening and are really working through things. But I think sometimes it takes for the people who are not seen to lead the way. So that you're able to do that. So that's what you're doing. So that's why I wanted to do the circle, because it just gives a space for people to be.
Can you tell us what the first episode
first episode is a group of trans women who are of a certain age, just meaning over 30, because we sort of regularly hear the voices of trans people who are under 30. Like that's almost all that we hear is these sort of millennial trans folks who are mostly leaning, the conversations that we hear are mostly leaning towards non-binary people. And it's become a point where I feel like the voices of trans women who are binary trans women and who are not 25 are just not really heard anymore. And it includes TV and film as well, because there's a number of times where people have been in for roles that were written as the quote unquote trans role, which is also a conversation that needs to be had. But this role was written for a trans woman of a certain age. And then the girls who book it are like 24 and 25. And you're like, well, like these women, in particular, these trans women who are like in their 50s and 60s even, it's like they are completely being erased from the conversation. And it's because of their existence that anybody now that's trans is even getting to start to get into these rooms. So it's like I feel like they are sometimes erased, and their experiences are not thought of in this sort of march towards liberation for all that we're having. They are a part of that all.
Morgan, where can we view this tomorrow? And how do we watch this tomorrow?
So I will be releasing it at some point tomorrow because it's episode 1 and she still has to finish editing it. But I will be releasing it tomorrow.
Episode 1 drops when I
episode 1. Yes, episode 1 will drop on my Instagram page at Morgan Lee. And it will also be on YouTube after that.
Yay. Those are our 5 serious questions.
Ooh.
See? That was easy.
Yes.
That wasn't so bad.
It's not.
I know, and also I feel like, because it's you, we went maybe a little bit heavier than we normally.
Oh, I love it. No, yeah, no, I love it.
But
guests in the future should all beware. They're going to cut quite deep.
Very
Be ready to cry.
Come on,
Deep
come over here and
cut.
get cut. But the next part is very fun. It's a game.
Woo!
It is it's called our Quick 5. So they're just 5 rapid fire questions.
Oh God.
Yes. Top of mind.
Whatever's on the top of your mind. The first ones to jump out at you. Am I doing them? What you doing them? What do you want to do?
You want me to do it? I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it. Because
let's go back and forth.
You want to do it back and forth?
Let's try going back and forth.
All right.
We've never done that.
Intense, fast,
spit roast.
Okay.
Yep.
Fast.
Spit fire. Rapid fire.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Toni Collette returns to Broadway in what musical?
I get to choose it, or just
Yes.
Oh Jesus. This is not the right answer. Chicago.
Oh,
that's not the right answer. That's not even what I really want. I'm sorry, what was that?
Audra McDonald's Dream Role.
No, this is bad. My first thought is My Fair Lady, but I know that's because she wanted to do it. And didn't. See, but this is about that representation conversation that we had. Next to normal. Thank you. Yes, that's much better actually. And just had the conversation on Facebook where I put that. Audra McDonald. Yeah, I think she wanted to do My Fair Lady, but it was never done. And if you can't get Audra McDonald to do that, then come on now.
What's wrong?
Okay, wait, this is quick five.
Okay.
Mandy Patinkin, yes, no, or maybe?
No. No.
Jam, you do the next one.
All right. Your cell phone goes off during the opening chords of The Ladies Who Lunch in Patti LuPone's triumphant return to Broadway in Company. Where do you hide?
I don't hide anywhere. Come to me.
Bitch, I will answer the phone.
You are a
and I'm going to be the one going. I'll be the one going. Hold on, sweetie. Let me just put this on camera so I can record her.
Because again, receipts.
Because if I answered it in the theater, then that means that it was important.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is the last one. Last one in the quick 5. At the 1993 Tony Awards, Liza Minnelli and Lorna Luft did a sisters medley. The opening song in that medley was "If Mama Was Married." True or false?
True.
False.
Oh my God.
It was Miss Seeley's Blues from the Color Purple film.
Oh, representation.
Representation. I will be posting that video after the show because I'm very mad about it.
Oh my gosh.
You're opening a sisters medley between Liza Minnelli and Lorna Luft with Sister.
Miss Seeley's Blues.
Let me tell you something, sister.
Mm-hmm.
This has been absolutely lovely.
It went so fast.
It did.
I know.
We still have a little bit more show to do.
Yeah, we do.
And as we wrap up, also we're moving into our our live on tape performance of El Morgan
Oh,
Lee.
yes.
Oh, that's
But,
right. That's
but
right.
you got to tell us about some of the things that are coming up. We know about the Circle,
Yes.
but someone tells me you might be going across the pond for a project, darling.
To London.
Yeah. So during this whole pandemic situation, I got reached out to by a creative team in London who is looking to build The Danish Girl, a musical adaptation of The Danish Girl. So I sang from the show, and then all of a sudden things started happening, and now I am getting ready tentatively next month in April to go over and do a workshop as Lily in The Danish Girl.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's like its own sort of light in the piazza, a little night music moment that I'm so excited about.
That is amazing. And tell us about, you're doing some stuff with our choreographer.
Raja. Also in April. April the 8th, I believe the look will be. I can't call it a show because it's really going to be like a glorified look into a rehearsal of a concept, of the first step of development in a concept. So I was supposed to do. I was asked to do a play, one of the readings in one of the series that's been on YouTube, and so the play that we wanted to do was going to be The Women. And it didn't work out because there were some elements about the women after rereading it that I was just like, no. This is not the story that we need to be telling today. And like the fact that she for years pined after this man, that's fine, I guess, if she couldn't, move on from this relationship. This man cheated on her. But in the end, it was that she took 2 years to pine after him only to set up another woman so that she could get him back. And I had a lot of problems with her going back to a jerk, and like that's not where we need to be today in conversations about women. So I was like, I feel like this is a conversation that should happen. And Raja, being the visionary that he is, kept kind of pushing a bit and being like, well, what else do you think, El Morgan? And what else do you think, El Morgan? And why do you think that, El Morgan? And what else do you think? And so fast forward to him being given a residency at Ars Nova at the end of this month and then through April. And he asked me to be one of the artists that he's collaborating with. So he's going to be directing this piece. We pulled together like 7 playwrights, all women or non-binary people, who are going to sort of join this conversation about what it means to be a woman and what being a woman looks like in 2021. So right now, the tentative title is called The Women 2021. And it's being sort of built in a sort of like the Color Museum format, where it's each writer has a piece in the play. Right. So there's sort of like this sort of round look.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So April 8th, that's happening.
I love it. I love it.
We're gonna watch a video.
We are going to watch a video.
Down with Love.
Oh, so well, are you ready to sing it live right now?
Why did you want to sing this?
I understood clearly why the story is that she went backstage after this and fainted. I understand now. It is quite the beast.
It is. Who did you do this for? What was this project?
Broadway for Racial Justice put together this Black History Month concert series called Revival, and they asked me if I had anything I wanted to sing, if there was anything that spoke to me, and I had just gotten the sheet music to this, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try and see what this is. And give it a try. I did.
I mean, you're in for a treat, everybody.
Yeah.
If you have never heard, and I don't know how you could not have, but if you have never heard El Morgan sing, this is a testament. This is it's testimony. This is this put me through it. This was like I was on the edge of my everything. Like, what is she? Is she?
What?
No, she's not. She's not. Is she? Wait a minute. I stood up 3 times during it. It's wonderful. So this is El Morgan Lee singing "Down with Love."
Oh! I'm backing it up. I'm backing it up. I'm backing it up. I'm backing it up.
Down with love, with flowers and rice and shoes. Down with love, the root of all midnight blues. Down with things that give you that well-known pain. Take that moon, wrap it in a cellophane. Down with love, let's liquidate all its friends. Like moon, June, roses and rainbows. And down with songs that moan about night and day. Down with love, take it away, away. Take it away. Take it away. Give it back to the birds and the bees and the Viennese. Oh, down with eyes, romantic and stupid. Down with sighs, down with Cupid. Brother, let's stuff that dove. Down with love. Down with love, liquidate all its friends. Like moon, June, roses and rainbows. And down with songs that moan about night and day. I know he's around when the sky and the ground started ringing. He's real and the world is alive and shining. Oh, my man, I love him so. You'll never know. All my life I tell him, you say Eva, I say Ida. When I marry Mister, you say neither, I say either. Eva, either, neither, neither. Let's call the whole thing off. Take it away, take it away. Give it back to the birds and the bees and the Viennese. Oh, down with eyes, romantic and stupid. Down with sighs, down with Cupid. Brother, let's stuff that dove. I don't care if he's young, seafaring, bold and daring, big be-whiskered, or overbearing. Down, down, down with love.
Yeah!
It's first of all, it's one of my favorite songs, like most favorite songs ever, and that's just it's wonderful. You sound amazing.
Jane.
You just sound amazing, and I love it. I love it. 3 million times.
You doing the big things, the big songs. It's awesome. Awesome.
I love the whole journey. I think as Jam said, the entire journey of just like knowing you and of our time with a Strange Loop and watching your journey alongside all of our journeys and alongside the show's journey, watching all of that has been and continues to be just a fucking privilege.
Yeah.
And just it's
I feel
just
the same watching you all, so thank you.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we are family.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's a very special thing. So we are honored to have had you as a guest this evening.
Well, I would have been here anyway. I'm usually watching and commenting from the side, looking things up.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Well, as I said, my intention is I want to have a couple Nanette Fabres.
Yes.
And our intention is you will be one of our Nanette Fabres. And VZ, Jason.
Oh.
I know we just haven't scheduled, and that's on me. I'm the booker. I'm a bad booker, Jason.
But I'm gonna tell you, he's been busy.
Jason is always working too. Jason's been on your show, but Jason will be like sideways working and watching your show.
This is so true. Right?
He'll be like between takes on the film.
Absolutely. And you're like, wait, you're doing what now? Oh, I'm just doing an HBO show.
Moves in silence, and then drops episodes.
Just like, bam. I love it.
I'm quarantining someplace. I'm trying to do a Jason VZ voice. Do you hear me? I'm quarantining to do a film for something. Anyway,
we gonna work on the voice.
He will.
Unprofessional. I don't give a damn. Jason. So we usually end our show with something we call One Wish. Because it's all numbers.
One special wish.
I went to the same place. What's your one wish, Jam?
My one wish this week is very silly, but it is my one wish, and it is this wish is for myself.
Okay.
But I'm like, Lord, please be a video from the Oberlin concert.
I told you.
Are they still having it though? Are they still having it?
Oh,
I think they had it.
Oh, so it was old.
I think it happened.
Oh, that's true. It's Black History Month. I would assume.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you what. If it didn't happen,
February 28th at 4:30.
I know there was a rehearsal.
Lord, be a video.
So, I'm gonna tell you what. That show was at 4:30. That was at 4:30 on the 28th. I'm sure that at 2 p.m. they had at least a dry tech. They had a sound check at 2. And somewhere there's a stage manager that has that tape. And
there's some pissed off Black student at Oberlin with their
I'm just saying that if you have that tape, feel free to reach me at 5QJ&J.
I want to see it.
My one wish. My one wish for
in the cotton field, low Jericho, roll down low. I mean, like, what were they wearing? What I was wearing. So that is.
Oh my God!
Somewhere. My one wish is for everyone not to waste their one good nerve.
Right, pulling it back in.
Don't waste your one good nerve, because you'll be up shit's creek. This has been lovely.
Oh, I don't get a one wish.
Yes, yes,
that's right.
You.
Wait a minute, I don't get one wish. Nancy Wilson.
Nancy Wilson as Effie. No, did you ever see that video on YouTube?
Oh, was that the pageant one?
It's the old white woman playing Effie, and the only Black person is playing like reporter number 6 in the background of like.
But why is it always Effie? Why is it always Effie they go to?
Nancy Wilton is like community theater royalty of like a suburb of deep, maybe Michigan. You must look up this video. It's the whole fight scene into And I Am Telling You. So it's about 12 minutes long, and it is sheer brilliance.
That's right. Of course, the Black person was reporter number 6, getting all the tea on the side.
The one Black person. You can almost.
Gloria says she was wonderful.
Her best work yet.
Oh, Jesus.
We love a transformation.
Do you have one wish for everyone, El Morgan?
My wish, if we're all stemming it back into the episode, my wish is that everyone will. Oh, what's it twofold? So it's 2 wishes. 0.5 wish is that everybody will try and watch The Circle tomorrow when I decide to drop it. And then the other half of the wish is that everyone watching will listen to someone that they didn't think twice about listening to before, or that they thought twice about listening to before.
Right. Oh,
say it again. Say it again.
Listen to someone that you thought twice about listening to before, or that you hesitated to listen to before.
Okay.
Just one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to tell the kids what's happening next week?
Oh my God! Next week we have Black Broadway royalty in the house. Oh yeah. Wow.
It was a flat hint, but it was a hint.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, you giving me a drum roll?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right.
Is that working? I gotta work on my.
It's fine. Next week's guest is Sekon. Sekon is joining us next week, ladies and gentlemen.
This picture.
This picture, right?
I'm bringing a fan next week.
I mean, can you imagine? Like, look, she's Sekon. She walks with a fan.
Sekon is she was our first Black Alphaba, not the full-time one. She was a cover, and I want them to hire a full-time. But she was first. She is Secret Life of Bees.
The Wonder Years reboot.
Yes. That was just announced today.
That was just announced today. Yes.
On ABC, they're doing a reboot of The Wonder Years. Lee Daniels is producing, Fred Savage is directing, and Sekon is playing the mother.
And that one in Atlanta that was
Delilah. She's also playing one of Aretha Franklin's sisters in the Respect film with Jennifer Hudson, because that's the only Aretha Franklin pick that is out and happening. Like, just working.
Like, get me into some of these appointments.
Right? I'll drive you.
I mean,
I'll set up the
what
camera.
happens when you've had, like, how many Broadway shows has she been? She's been in Aida. She's Tony nominated for Eclipse. She's been in Motown. She was in Wicked. She was in Rent. She was like, I mean,
but you don't need all that. You don't need to do all that to get on TV, though. So I need some assistance with the TV, Sekon, because we have been watching you for years now on TV.
She was in Famous.
Happily watching her. It looks beautiful on screen.
She was the girlfriend.
Scandal.
Scandal. Right. She has that show in
taking Olivia's pace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's next week.
That is next week.
That's exciting. Where can everyone find Elle Morgan?
Everyone can find Elle Morgan. And here, this is her social media asset that I built for her.
Look at you, fancy. Well, the Twitter is actually Elle Morgan _Lee.
Now, why you gotta get brand new with it? Like, I asked you about this yesterday when I was.
That's okay, Jim. You didn't ask me details. I just said Twitter. You could have found that. See, that's we gotta have somebody helping you out with booking there.
She's like, I follow you. You can't return the favor.
Shadichery.
It's all in love.
Morgan Lee.
We thank you so very much.
I love you too. Thank you.
This dog is licking my feet. Please hold.
Zeke.
This is where you can find us.
Yes, 5QJ&J. And we thank you all for watching. Tell your friends.
Oh, she was on Dawson's Creek? I did not know that.
She was on the creek?
What?
So she was a baby working.
I mean, this is Wow. The only raisin, says Elisha Caldwell. She was the only raisin.
The only raisin.
Why gotta be
I
a
need to
raisin?
talk to
though?
her about the creek. That was a good swim.
Fela.
I mean everything. So tune in next week. And we'll have
Also, how does
another
she still look like 20? I don't like.
Right?
It's just so easy for some people.
I want
combination
to
of
drive her.
Vaseline, cocoa butter, but it's like three times Vaseline, 1 part cocoa butter.
Wait, is this true?
And
Because you're close.
I'm gonna find
y'all should
out.
ask that. How does
And,
that skin stay looking like that?
All of my questions are going to be about beauty.
You're like, so Saquon, we're gonna
I'm
just
gonna
go
have a
from
line
head
of
to toe
products.
here.
I'm gonna have a line of products
El Morgan sent a
behind me.
note to ask about hair, and let's just have.
You're like,
you know what?
is this the right one?
She could do a whole show on hair.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like really, like I mean, so. Well, I'll tell a story out of school, but how we became friends, we were doing a show together in Baltimore, and we had like a 2-show day, and I knew we were going to become friends because we were walking home from the theater, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I am getting ice from the ice machine. I'm going to ice these feet." She's like, "Can I come ice my feet with you?" And so we both went. We got bags of ice, put them on our feet. And she proceeded to take her bra off from underneath her.
Yes.
And then she's like, "I have to do my hair tomorrow." And sat there for the next like 3 hours and took out every single braid and laid them down. And I was like,
Well, she got real comfortable with you fast.
we are friends for life.
That's family. That's family. Oh, God.
And was still stunning when they were out, I'm sure.
Right?
Stunning. She's gorgeous.
I'm doing extreme research starting tonight.
It's a deep dive.
I
She
have
has so much content.
all of the I'm going to ask a question for every pore that I don't see.
But and well, I can, I don't have an asset yet, but we have also coming up another Broadway wonderful person who is a good friend of A Strange Loop, a good friend of ours. Miss Leslie Kritzer is going to come and join us the following week.
Yeah.
And we're in talks with some wonderful people that I'm not going to announce yet. But yeah.
People are like contacting us.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is lovely.
So L. Morgan Lee, you're magic. We're going to play these end credits, but don't log off yet. My computer, y'all, like right before we're about to go on, crashed, right?
Yep.
So all of the stuff
Stage
that I would
management
tell
came
you,
in and gave us our 10 minutes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I decided to shower. And and his computer crashed.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Much love.
We love y'all.
Follow us on our social media.
5QJ&J.
On our Facebook, our Instagram. Most of you are watching on Facebook today, so come on, tell us some things, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Bye.